Okay, so now that is being recorded, so that's good. So I'm going to talk a little bit here at the outset, and let's see. I thought I wrote Once Upon a Time here, but I didn't. Anyway, I will tell you a story about Once Upon a Time to start with. And once upon a time, what happened was, and I was actually feeling pretty good, but my voice started getting really hoarse and I couldn't talk very well. And I still wanted to teach, so I went and I taught my classes, but I explained to my students that, gee, my voice was not in good shape that day. And so what I was going to do is I was just going to, write things down. I would teach the class, but I just wrote everything down instead of speaking. And after the class, some students came up and they said, Jim, that was so much better than normally when you're just talking all the time. So anyway, I'm back to talking again. But one thing is, I'm probably going to be talking more tonight because Linda may have a throat condition. Now, she can talk and things like that, and if I make a mistake, I'm sure she'll call me on it. But generally, I'm not going to be asking her to speak a whole lot, although I'll probably be asking her to do a whole bunch of things. Okay, now I start out with another thing. And another thing, one of you asked a question the other time. You said, why do we need to study this? I talked about research. I talked about don't sell yourself short. I talked about that you're part of a team and you've really got your doctor's back. And if they make a mistake, sometimes you can call them on it, and you do that carefully, but you can't. But I'm also going to tell you another thing. You want to be real careful asking that question. Now, I'm fine with that question because I can answer that question. I think I answered it well. But, and maybe you know this, maybe you don't, and maybe you agree with what I'm saying, maybe you don't, but I'm telling you, I've found it to be true. There are organizations in the world that are very much like the military. They give orders and they expect orders to be followed without question and things like that. Military is like that. Also, IT organizations are definitely like that. And I've got to tell you that the medical profession is like that. And so it's very much doctor's orders, and you follow the doctor's orders. And so it's fine for you to ask that question, well, why do we have to do this or something like that? But be careful, because the profession you're entering is very militaristic. That's my opinion. Okay, where are we? We're on track, we're on schedule, we're at cruising altitude and speed. I feel good that we're going to be where we need to be at midterm, because at midterm we want to be finishing the statistics. Cassandra, I'm going to call on you in just a minute, so just hang in there and we'll talk. But we're going to be finished with the statistics on or before midterm, so that's going to be good. So that's where we are, and we're practicing some of the logistics for the midterm on the 9th, and the midterm itself happens on the 16th, 1 week after that. And then if you got accommodations, you should be letting me know about those. And while this doesn't look like what I was thinking it did, but anyway, so if you got accommodations, let me know. Now I'm going to call on Cassandra now, because I think I've said everything I want to say. That points for LSA. I wanted to replace that with something else, but I didn't. Yes, Cassandra.
So I was going to wait till just before the community building group work to kind of mention it, but I feel like that was the perfect segue. So you feel that we are properly equipped, or at least, on track for the midterm, but I feel like I have no idea what we are doing in this class. And I'm speaking on my behalf. I'm sure there are other people in the group that feel the same way. If you want to mention it, you can. But I am so far, I feel like even going to a GSG would not help me. Number one, because the hours just don't work for me. I do my schoolwork at night when my kids are sleeping, And it's I don't even know what question I would ask, because I feel like I don't know at all what we are talking about here, like at all. I feel like we're learning how to use Excel, but I have no idea why we're doing standard deviation, what standard deviation is, where we are in the class as a whole. Like, I'm so unbelievably lost. And like the LSAs haven't been graded, at least the last time I checked, they haven't been graded. So I don't even know where I'm going in terms of, am I somewhere in the ballpark? I know you don't want us to worry about those, but there's a little bit of worry when I don't have any of them graded. I don't know where I'm at all. I mean, at all. Am I in the ballpark? And if I'm in the ballpark, I don't even know
Well,
why I'm in the ballpark.
okay. Well, let me respond to some of your questions, okay? I am, and again, bear with me because this analogy really works. I'm the pilot, and we are on schedule. Now, you just told me, and I didn't ask you for that, but you have, yeah, Linda just said something about tutoring, and maybe I'll call that up and read that to you. It's in the question in the chat box. But what I heard you say is, boy, I'm not keeping up. I'm behind. I don't know anything that I'm doing and stuff like that. So I would say, whenever we go to this wellness poll, you probably want to be putting down there, maybe that you're struggling. But the remedies for the struggling is, and Cassandra, I could be wrong, but I've seen a lot of students from many of my classes in my office hours, and I have office hours late at night and early in the morning, and I don't know the hours your children keep, but I bet I'm up and doing office hours when they're asleep. Now, I don't want to even debate that because I don't know when they sleep and things like that. But, and so, and people are saying things, and that's fine. We'll talk through these things, but we are covering the material that we have to be covering. You're saying you don't know why to do it. Well, I've told you that a couple of times, and I can tell you again, but that's what I'm supposed to be teaching. Look at the syllabus. We're doing exactly what's in the syllabus, and the syllabus was defined by the previous coordinator of the ultrasound program. Okay, so
It's less as it's I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. It's less because of how it pertains to the profession that I'm looking to get into, and more that I don't understand standard deviation or anything that we're doing at all.
okay. Well, so I'm going to suggest an approach. So first of all, I don't remember seeing you at my office hours, but you are welcome at my office hours, and my office hours are deliberately early in the morning and late at night. Linda has different hours, and Tom Topol has different hours too. And so if you stop into my office hours, we can begin with this. Now, we're not going to solve everything in one sweep, especially if you're behind. Okay, but and again, I'm not saying you're behind. You kind of were saying that you're struggling to keep up. But we will do one thing at a time. Okay. So, so I
Professor
guess
Bradley, aren't the solutions for the LSAs posted in videos on YouTube? Or have you not
uh,
gotten to those yet?
some of them are, some of them aren't. Okay, and so it's a mix, Linda. There. Okay, but I am going to post all the solutions, and they will get graded. And I'm going to tell you not to worry about that again and again. You can say, "Oh, I don't trust you," and but well, I hope you do. You really should. However, it is important for you to be learning this stuff and knowing how to do things. And it is going to be things like the LSAs. It's going to be things like the examples we do in class, and you're going to know what's coming. So Cassandra, and not just you, but anybody else who was, feeling, and by the way, when we do this poll, if you say you're okay, I kind of take that to the bank. Now, sometimes there might be one, two, or three of you say, I'm struggling, and my advice to you is always kind of the same thing. Come and see me during my office hours, and we'll get with the program and do it. And the nice thing is, it's not too late. Okay, so again, my office hours are going to be 9 to 10 tonight after this. And again, sometimes I get students from other classes there, but still, that's a good opportunity for us to have some interaction. Okay, and I want to tell you that other people have done this before. Linda and I have done this many times, but other people have done it before, and they can do it. And Cassandra, and I'm just speaking about you, you're obviously an intelligent young woman. I'm sure you're a busy young woman, and you can do this, okay? You can. So anyway, what I'm going to suggest is that you talk to me. Now, I'm going to glance here, and let's see, I guess I didn't have my video turned on, and now it's not. I don't know if it's turned on now or not. I'm going to look at the chat box for a moment because some people were saying some things. Okay. All right. So Hannah agreed with Cassandra or me, not really sure who, but anyway, there's a thing there. Linda said, I have tutoring hours from 6 to 8 in math drop-in on Mondays and Wednesdays as well. You guys know when my office hours. Okay. Here's another comment. I think one of the problems is that we are learning a lot of stuff. Hey, that's good if you're learning a lot of stuff. That's my number one thing that we have never heard of before, super fast, and we barely have time to practice. Well, and that's true, and I've talked to God about this, and God has said that she's not going to give me more than 168 hours a week. So, but I think you can. Do this because we're all, I feel we always have to catch up. Well, one thing that's going to happen is there's going to be a little bit, now it's not going to be a lull, we're not going to take 2 or 3 weeks off, but there is going to be where a time where we finish the statistics and there is a time to catch up, and we are going to be prepping you for that. Okay, so I guess I'm saying I think you guys will be fine. Okay, and as Linda said, I am going to publish solutions. In fact, I have published some solutions to the LSAs. I hope you've been looking at those. And I am telling not only Cassandra, I'm telling you all that as far as I'm concerned, you all are just fine. Now, what can happen is I don't know everything about you, and if you really say, gee, I've only been, I haven't watched the videos, I don't have time to watch the videos, I'm not really, able to engage in the course, well, that's a different issue, but I think you can be fine. There's another couple of comments I'm going to read here. Let's see. Okay, there's another comment about the LSAs. We published solutions to those, and I got to, catch up with that, but that's fine, and we will be caught up on that. So that's good, and I believe we should go over the LSAs so we can see what we're doing right or wrong. And that's the reason that I publish solutions to the LSAs in the videos, okay? And so watching the videos, and if that's not sufficient, I suggest you come to my office hours. They're early in the morning and late at night. Most children are asleep then. And so what happens is you certainly are welcome to come, and we can do that. And if that doesn't work, we can find something else. Linda's got hours, Tom Topol has hours, and things like that. So, and I guess we had some discussion around that. Okay, and so I do hope to see some more of you in my office hours. I do think that Linda's been having 2 or 3 people. I don't know if it's always the same 2 or 3 people, but anyway. Okay, we're not going to hear from Linda tonight, and I don't know if we really want to. Yeah, Cassandra, go ahead. You again. Yes, go ahead.
So in short, basically, the answer is to just go to office hours, even though we have a 3-hour math class every Tuesday.
Yeah, we do things in this 3-hour math class. All right, ask a question, Cassandra. Ask a question.
That's the point I'm trying to convey, is that I don't even know where to start because I don't know where I don't know where we are. Like I don't understand any of the material. That's the point I'm trying to convey.
Okay.
I feel like it hasn't even started.
Well, we're almost halfway done. Okay, so what I would really say is make a point to, and Cassandra, now I shared this with many people. I might have shared it with you. Actually, I don't know about that. But anyway, my phone number is 630-776-7357. Text me sometime when your kids are asleep and tell me when we can try to talk. I'm busy myself too, so I don't know if I can, just be there instantly when when you need me. But I can be there, and we can work on the things, and we'll work on the things one at a time. Okay, and I think I think you have an opportunity to be fine. Now, I am teaching you a real course. We are going over the real material because I think it's important for me to do that, because I want you to learn as much as you can in this course. And so that means that, some people probably are more engaged. Some people are saying they're great. A bunch of people are saying they're okay. But anyway, so Cassandra, please text me. I won't record your number, and I won't bother you or anything like that. But what I'd like to do is I would like to find a time when we can get together and we can talk about it. Although probably this isn't the most productive place to talk about all this, but it's fine, and I'm glad you brought it up. Okay, so Cassandra, did you get my number, or should I repeat it?
No, I've got it.
Okay, great. And then I'm going to say, please use it. Okay. All right. Let's skip the community building because that was, well, I don't know. All right, Linda, I don't know how many people are here. Break them into groups, please. And here's what you're going to do when you go into groups. There's going to be a spokesperson. We're going to know who's in your group. And by the way, those are people that you can study with and things like that. And just so you're doing something in the group, why don't you share, and you can lie, I suppose, but something real that is on your bucket list, something you would like to do that you have not done yet, and if there's any questions in your group beyond the ones that we've covered already. Okay, so, and Linda, this is going to be pretty fast tonight. It might be 5 minutes, but she's going to put you into groups, and we'll do some debriefing on this community building. Thanks, Linda. And I guess, Linda, we said 5 minutes, so that means it will be 23 when you bring them back. How many groups did you make?
I made 4.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry I
And
didn't make you speak.
no, it's fine. My throat's just a little bit sore, but it looks like somebody else just joined, so I'm gonna put them in a group as well.
Great. Don't give more than 5 minutes though, and we'll bring them back.
Yeah. I mean, do you have any other ideas for what we could do aside from office hours? Because that's really all I can think of as well. Like, we only have so much class time.
My issue really is that I don't know enough to ask a question. That's hard for me to deal with, okay? And again, I'm not trying to be mean with that, but that is a difficult thing to deal with though, because I mean, if you ask a question, we'll do it. Now, when I get together with them, we're going to focus on actually doing some things. And my guess is that the students may not be watching the videos as active learners as much as they could be, and they might not be practicing. I don't know, if I were to do a poll, I'd say, how many of you actually have Excel 365 and are practicing using that? And if the results would be not the overwhelming majority, then I'd say that's an issue too. But anyway.
Yeah, we can do a poll for that. You want to do one for like watching the videos and practicing Excel?
No, you know what I think? I think I'm going to do some false polls, okay? And the false polls that I'm going to do is that the expectation is, well, okay, I'm going to do some false polls. Let's just do a wellness poll when we come back, okay?
Okay.
All right, I'll do a debrief and then we'll do the wellness poll. Now you feel okay if I direct you to do some things on the, in an Excel thing. I will do most of the talking tonight though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so. Okay, and they got like 2 more minutes, so that's good. They're probably complaining about me right now, so.
I mean, maybe.
Yeah, probably. Maybe that's therapeutic too.
It's a bonding experience.
I guess. I don't know. Did you hate me when you studied with me?
Not at all, but I also had Jesse helping me. So, I mean, I kind of had an
Yeah.
unfair advantage. I
By
think
the way,
part of it is also just working online can be really difficult.
yeah, that certainly is true.
All right, I'm going to bring him back.
Good, thank you.
Awesome.
And Linda, you said you had 4 groups?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 4 groups of 4. Group of 5.
Okay, let's just begin. There were 4 groups. Who was group number 1? And I'm going to ask you to, and if you're not speaking, I'm going to ask you to mute your mic if you're not speaking. Okay, group number 1. Who's the spokesperson?
I'm not sure which group number we had.
Okay, so who are you? We will call you group 1. What's your name, please?
My name is Nicole. I had Marilla, Carolina, and Anali.
Okay, good.
And our bucket list, well, everybody kind of had a little bit different. Anali's was skydiving.
Good.
Carolina's was scuba diving. Mariella wanted to go to Australia. And I would prefer to be on any tropical island. It doesn't really matter which one.
Okay. All right, that's some good stuff. Did your group have any questions other than questions that we've already talked about?
Sometimes with, I think everybody's having a little bit more trouble with the Excel as far as converting into the cells and all that. And then maybe some of the formulas, what the symbols are representing, especially me. Sometimes I can't remember what a specific symbol represents and I can't really find it. But yeah, that was with me, but some of the people are having a little issues with Excel.
Okay, well, one thing that I can do is we could try to have an Excel help session if that would be useful. Now, the challenge is going to be, Nicole and everybody else, I know you were just speaking for your group, but the challenge with that is finding a time when people can come. And that's one of the reasons that I, made arrangements to have, Tom Topol scattered out there and Linda scattered out there and me scattered out there, trying to increase the opportunity. but I don't have a problem having an Excel help session. Now, I will almost guarantee you, though, that when I try to schedule such a thing, there will people who won't show up. And in fact, one thing I talked with Linda about, I said, I wonder how many students have gotten the Excel 365 and are practicing it. But I want to encourage that kind of practice because that will make you much better. So I have made a note here, Nicole, and I'll try to schedule an Excel help session. Now that'll be when it'll be, and I don't know who all can come to that, but we can try to do that. Okay. And so,
Okay.
Nicole, did you have other questions in your group, or was that the biggest one?
No, we may have, but we are kind of cut short. So, but as far as we got, that's what we were at.
Okay, so I'm not going to come back to you again.
Okay.
Okay, so somebody else will be group 2, please.
Okay, I'll go. This is Kira, and in my group we had Mariella, Jenna, and Elizabeth. And Mariella's bucket list item is to travel the world. Jenna's is to visit every continent. Elizabeth's is to meet an elephant, and mine is to travel to New Zealand.
Okay, a lot of traveling there, and traveling is very broadening. That's a great thing to do. The consulting project I did in Bahrain was one of the most eye-opening things I ever did, so that's good. I've never been to New Zealand, but I did send people who worked in my group in industry there because we had a big project there. So those are good things on the bucket list. You guys have a question that you wanted to ask?
Nope, you covered them at the start of class.
Okay, excellent. So I'm not going to come back to you, Kira, for questions. Okay, is there somebody else? We had 4 groups, so somebody else is out there as a spokesperson.
I was the spokesperson for group 3, and it was me, Lori, Kathy, and Paula. And
Okay, and who are you, please?
I'm Hannah.
Okay, Hannah, good.
We said that on our bucket list is to pass this class. And our question, Kathy had a question, but it kind of got cut off once we were back into the main room. She had asked
Oh, I didn't have a
about.
question actually.
Oh, you didn't?
I was
Okay.
no, I just couldn't hear anybody, but I'm back.
It was me,
Okay.
Okay, cool.
Paula.
Oh, Paula had the question. Okay. Something in regards to getting the answers to the problems that like we do in class, like the practice problems. If we could get the answers to those.
Well, and you certainly can, but I'm also going to tell you that those problems that we do, and I'll tell you what, I will talk to Linda about this, but I also would say that where we record these videos, and so we do have the problems that we do, so you can go back and look at them and get them that way. But I will talk with Linda about that
I think
offline.
she's referring actually to the extra problems that are included in the PowerPoint. So the ones that we don't make it through in class.
Okay, well, I'm going to talk to Linda about that and see what we can do about that. And Paula, was your hand up again to clarify that or something, or did that cover it?
Yeah, Linda clarified. That's what I meant. It's because I want to practice and I want to make sure I'm getting the right answers. That's why.
Okay, and by the way, and I did say that the book isn't required, but I'm pulling these problems from now the Sullivan book, and it's going to be the other book. And I think it is good things to practice because according to COD guidelines, and I know how hard this is because I've been a student myself, but the COD student handbook says you want to be spending between 2 and 3 hours outside of class working on things for every hour inside class. Now, I know how hard that is, and some students would say, oh, I never did that in high school and things, and maybe that's the case, but that's what the COD handbook kind of says. So Hannah, that takes care of your questions, does it, on your group?
Yeah, that was it.
Okay, excellent. There's one more group out there. Who do we hear from?
That was our group. I'm Destiny.
Okay, hi, Destiny.
In my
Okay.
group, I had Cassandra, Katerina, and Emily. And
Okay.
Cassandra wanted to go to Greece.
That would be cool.
Yeah. And Katerina said to go skydiving. And Emily said to travel the world. And I said to go to Switzerland.
Okay, all that stuff is great. By the way, some of the people who said you wanted to pass this class on your bucket list, we can make that happen. You see, Linda and I have flown, and Tom Topol also. Your flight crew is very experienced. We've made this flight many times, and the students who engage with us land safely at their destination. So we know what we're doing, but also the ride is turbulent. I know that, and that's one of the reasons I say fasten your seatbelts and keep your tray tables stowed, because we know how to get there, but it's not necessarily going to be a smooth ride. Okay, well, that was good, and I hope this community building is useful. Maybe I'll talk with Linda about that, and I will explore the Excel and you know, the problem discussion. I'll talk with Linda about maybe both of those. Okay, Linda's going to do a wellness poll, then we're going to dive into some content. So Linda's going to be throwing up a wellness poll. So everybody, you know, dive in here and let's see how we are. And Linda, we are two of those, so there's only one person who's not responding, and maybe they're feeding a baby or so. Okay, now we've got everybody. Okay, so so what we have is 10 or 17 feel they're in pretty good shape. Some other people are struggling. My advice to you, if you're struggling, we don't want you to be struggling, so we want to help you. And even if you say, I don't know what questions to ask, I'll make up questions that maybe you should be asking to get us started, and then it'll get to the point where you can do that. Okay, so let's then move into what we're doing, and we are going to take a break around 7:15 or so. So Linda, let's go into the next slide, please. Actually, I can do that. Now, what I'm doing here is some people ask me, what are the grace notes going to look like? This is going to be part of the grace notes. So these formulas are here. Now, there's more things that you might want to have and know about than this, but this is the grace notes that's going to be there, and I will advance the slide one more time. And here are the formulas from chapter 5. Now, I'm glancing at this, and in terms of the videos that I've covered, I think I've covered everything that's on this page, but some of these formulas may come up. Okay, so let's go along. And when we do a problem here, and Linda and I try to do this, but I'm going to do this. I'm going to say, you know, do you have questions? And then we'll do this. Now, you know, and we'll deal with your questions. So I'm going to advance the slide one more time then. And this is, by the way, the reason I have this is it's possible we may need to refer to this table. And so, you know, this table will be here if we need it. And that may or may not happen because this is the problem about feelings on abortion, okay? And so let's talk about this, and this is an example of a contingency table. And while I'm talking about this, Linda is making this into an Excel spreadsheet, and she's going to be doing that. And one thing I would encourage you to do is when you're studying, you know, and in fact, you could do it here, except you'd have to open a separate tab to do this, but practice these, you know, the things that we do. So Linda's doing this. So this research center asked a bunch of people with different levels of education, high school or less, some college or college graduates, how did they feel about abortion? And I'm not trying to take any political statements here. I'm just saying we're talking about, well, so how do you deal with this survey? Okay, so Linda's going to have this soon typed in, and what we're going to do is we're going to talk about this, and this falls into the category of contingency tables. And again, I ask you questions that are similar to the ones we go over. So these are good questions for you to ask. If you don't understand these things, please ask, and you know, and you'll get answers. You'll get some answers tonight, and might get some answers as time goes on, but you'll get them. And these are some questions that we might have about contingency tables. Now, what this asks us to do is construct a frequency marginal distribution. And then it asks us to construct a relative frequency marginal distribution. And so, and Linda may be copying this onto her Excel spreadsheet so we don't have to bounce back and forth to answer these questions, but we're going to do these one at a time. And that's what Linda has done. And so that's good. Now, the first thing I'm going to say is to construct a frequency marginal distribution, you all know that that is you add up the rows and add up the columns. Now, what Linda's going to do here is she's going to say equal sum, and she's going to add up the rows, and she's going to get that, and then she's going to pull it down, the formula, and then she's going to add up the columns, and then she's going to pull that across that formula after she puts that, and she has that. And that number that's there, and Linda, why don't you make that into bold and red? That's called the grand total. Okay, we're finished with A. So if there is a problem where I give you data like this and I ask you to construct a frequency marginal distribution, you just do exactly this. Now I am going to ask Linda to copy that whole thing that she has there. And so she's copying it, and she's going to paste that into a Word document somewhere, because you see you can do that, and that Word document can be something that you can turn in. And so she's going to Word, and she's going to paste that there, and pasting it that way is fine. And so when I were grading the stuff that you would turn in, I'd come there and I'd look at this and I would see, oh, did you do that? And Linda did. So I can see that we've completed that. Now I want to pause and ask if there are questions that have on this part of it. Okay. Kathy, you said, I just looked at the chat and you said you couldn't hear anything. I hope that's not now.
No, I'm back. I had to log out and log in. I'm good.
Oh, okay, great. Okay, all right. Okay, I'm thinking that there's no questions on that one, Linda. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to move to B. Now there's different words here, a lot of the same words, but it's different, and we're constructing a relative frequency marginal distribution. So what's going to be in the margin are the relative frequencies, which are fractions. So you see what Linda's going to do is she's going to divide everything in those sum rows by the grand total. So there she's going to have 275 divided by that 833, and so she's going to get all those divided by the 833. And then she's going to divide these by the 833 also. And notice that the probabilities are now going to sum to 1 because probabilities have to sum to 1. So the relative frequencies are going to sum to 1. And we'll be there soon. Okay, so you see, this is an example of the relative frequency distribution. And the difference between A and B is it was relative to the grand total, but everything is in the margin. Okay. Now, and I think we've talked about that a little bit before. In fact, I know we have. But now what we're going to do is we're going to construct a conditional distribution of people's feelings about the availability of abortion by level of education. Now, this is something that we haven't done before, but Linda is going to do it, and she's going to insert a chart. Okay, so she's going to go here, and let's see, this says, wait, did I skip one? Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped one. I'm sorry, I skipped C. C says, what portion of college graduates feel that abortion should never be permitted? Well, that means that we're talking about college graduates. So it's that column D. So it's the college graduate column. And then we're going to say is what proportion of college graduates feel that should never be permitted. So that's going to be 17 divided by 276. Okay, so so the fraction is going to be 6% of the college graduates, okay? And now what we're going to do is we're going to construct a conditional, or let me pause here. Are people okay with that calculation? Please ask a question if you have them.
I just have a question. When we
Yes,
changed
Sarah.
in the second, it's Kira. In the
I'm
second
sorry.
chart where we changed that bottom right box to 1 from the number it was before, how did we get that to 1 again?
You add up all the rows or add up all the columns, and it ends
Okay.
up being 1. Okay.
Okay.
You see, because those are like fractions. Okay, they're relative frequencies. Okay.
Okay.
All right. And it's good that you ask questions. Okay. Now we're going to construct a conditional distribution of people's feelings about the availability of abortion by level of education. Okay. So and you see what we have is now what we're going to do is, and Linda's going to do this again, you're going to be doing another calculation here because you're kind of saying, and let's just talk about high school or less. So you see, when we talk about high school or less, what's going to happen is some of those people, and in fact, there's 125 think that it should be illegal. And so what's going to happen is we're going to see what happens there. But we're going to divide everybody in that first column by the sum at the bottom of that column. Okay. So Linda's doing that right now. So we're doing high school or less, and she's going to be dividing everything there by the 317 to get the relative distribution. Okay, and so what you see there is if high school or less, it's about 28%. It's that should be generally available. It's about 16% that think it should be allowed. Almost 40% think it should be illegal, and 16% think it is never. Now, Linda's doing the same thing in each of these columns. This is going to be some college, and then she's going to do the college graduates, and so we're going to have that as well. And so we'll have this. And I am going to pause as soon as Linda's finished, and you can, you know, that's a good opportunity if someone wants to ask a question about what we're doing. And in part E, we're going to draw a bar graph of that. Now that's something that we haven't done yet, but I am going to ask Linda to do that. She's going to be inserting a graph after she finishes this calculation, okay? And see, each of those columns adds up to 1 because you're saying what fraction feel this way. Now Linda's going to now highlight that, and she's going to insert a chart. So she's highlighting that stuff, and she's going to go and insert a chart. And watch where she goes. So insert, and she goes over there, and there's a bar chart. She's going to do that, and she's going to pick that one, and you get a preview of what it is. And now, and Linda, maybe just put that on top, that chart on top of the words there. That's, oh, you can move it, that's fine. And you see, we can see what happens. So when you look at this, you can see that, and let's see, there should be a scale there. Oh yes, we see a color scale. So you see college graduates, you see high school or less, and you see some college. So you see we have a nice graph of that. Now I'm going to pause right now to see if there's if there's quite, oh, Linda, first, before we do that, copy this and paste that into the Word document again. Because if on an assessment, I ask you to do this, you would just copy that graph, and you would go there and you could paste it into the Word doc, and then you could upload that PDF. So that would be good. Okay, and different people are leaving the session and stuff like that. So, okay. Paula has a comment. Go ahead, Paula.
Do we always have to put it on Microsoft Word, or can we just put it straight to a PDF from Excel?
It depends on the software you have, because what happens, well, here's the thing. PDFs, and this is a technical answer, but you ask a technical question. PDFs are easy to read and print, but they're not necessarily easy to write on. Okay, there's special software that allows you to write on it. So you might not have that software, Paula, I'm not sure.
Okay, thank you.
By the way, I'm also going to say that you get Word for free at the College DuPage because they give you Microsoft 365. So you get Word for free. You don't have to buy something to do it. And I'm going to tell you, I think Word is maybe the best way you maybe do that. It looks like Jenna has a comment. Go ahead, Jenna.
I was just gonna ask if maybe Linda can share the exact Excel sheet she is using to show her work so we can go back and reference it and see what she did while doing homework and
I'm going to tell you that often Linda does do that. Okay, now I don't know if she has done it every night, but often she has done that in the past, and I'm pretty sure she certainly is willing to do it. Okay.
That sounds great. I just think it would be more beneficial so I can, for me, I'm a visual learner, so if I look and see exactly where she went, it would probably be easier. Oh, okay, Linda, I see that. Thank you.
Okay, and we are we are recording this video and stuff, so we should be good with that. Okay, all right, so we did that, and I think we did. I don't know if E's in, let's see, maybe we did E already. Yeah, we did that. Okay, so now there's a question, and this is an essay question. Is level of education associated with opinion on the availability of abortion? Does it matter? And if I look at this, I say, yes, it does. The less educated people, according to this survey, and I'm not saying anybody is right or wrong. In fact, I'm really not trying to preach to you, but I have strong feelings about many things, and I have strong feelings about this. I'm not telling you what those feelings are. I am well educated though, so I mean, but that doesn't mean I line up with those feelings. Anyway, what happens here is, if I look at this, what this says is the more education a person has, they tend to be more inclined to be, I think that's called pro-choice, is what that would be called. So anyway, and so, but the big thing is, can you do contingency tables about this? Okay, so we're about ready to leave this unless there's any more questions about this one. Okay, let's,
Okay, I have a question.
yes, go ahead. I'm
So
sorry, I couldn't tell who.
from contingency tables, the main idea is that we have to get the marginal distribution and conditional distribution.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, these questions that Linda has here, those are the only kind of questions I'm going to ask you.
Okay, perfect.
Are these A through F, okay? And again, you know, you have to, I mean, there's some Excel manipulations that help you with this, but they're not too bad. And if you practice them, you'll be in good shape on that. So, you know, that should be good. Okay, anything else?
That's
Okay, Linda, let's go back to the thing. I always know what time it is. It's 6:51 or so. And so we're going back to the PowerPoint show. And Linda, we're going to do something a little different now. And let's see, maybe I need to advance the slide to where we are. That's the one we did. But now what we're going to do is we're going to shuffle. And this is because we're going to be jumping around doing different kinds of problems. And again, there's a whole bunch of problems here and things like that, but we're going to do these, and I don't know how this is going to come up. But Linda, I'm going to ask you to go to Excel, and we're going to shuffle the numbers 8 through 30. And Linda, that should have been slide, the next slide is number 8 in the deck, okay? And Linda will just know where we go. So Linda is going to call up Excel now. And what she's going to put in a column in Excel is she's going to put the numbers 8 through 30 sequentially. But then I'm going to show you how to shuffle this in Excel. And this is a new skill that you'll have.
Professor Bradley, isn't there a way to just randomly get a number using a function?
There is. Okay, well, if Linda wants to do that, that's fine. So Linda just picked a number between 8 and 30. She's going to keep track of the numbers that we did, though. So Linda, what is the first number? And we'll show you how to shuffle the numbers later.
Looks like the first one is 12.
Okay, go to slide 12 then, please, Linda. And Linda, mark that we finished slide, when we're done with it, we're finished with slide 12. Go ahead. All right. Now, we are, and when I say finished, I don't know. We might find another contingency table problem, but we've talked about that. And so now this is a good one because this is slide 12, I guess Linda said. And so what we're doing is we want to verify that this is a probability model. Okay, now what this says is that the probability of getting red is 0.3, the probability that getting green is 0.15, blue is 0, and so on and so forth. There's two things that are needed to have a probability model. This is something that we covered, and you should know about this, okay? And so Linda is typing that in, and the two things are, all those numbers have to be bigger than or equal to 0 in the probability, and they have to add up to 1. So Linda's going to show you a screen with that, an Excel screen, and I could give you something like this. Okay, so to do, and those will be the two things you check. You could just look and you could say, oh yes, all those numbers under the probability column are bigger than or equal to 0, and they're less than or equal to 1, but they also add up to 1. So Linda is going to be checking to see that those numbers add up to 1.
Yeah, just real quick, I'm going to copy and paste these so I don't lose them.
Okay.
Yeah, because every time I click, then those are going to change.
Yeah, that's, and we were going to, if we had done the other thing, and I know we didn't, but we were going to copy and make them into numbers. But anyway, okay, so we have that. So those do add up to 1, and each one is bigger than or equal to 0, so that is a probability distribution. Now I'm going to ask Linda to put the letters in there too, the reds and all that kind of thing.
Okay, give me 1 second to get those again.
Okay, thank you.
So we have red, green, blue. And then I believe it was brown, yellow, orange.
And these are like maybe colors of M&Ms or something like that. Okay, all right. So everybody should understand, I hope you do, that you have to check if these add up to 1, and each number is between 0 and 1. There's no negative numbers, and that's the total sum. It adds up to 1. Now I'm going to tell you another kind of problem. And Linda, what I want you to do with this next problem is copy those colors. I'm making this up on the fly, but copy those colors, okay, and paste them somewhere. We're making a new table.
Oh, okay.
And now Linda's going to leave brown blank, and she's going to put numbers in the others. Okay, so she's leaving brown blank, but she's putting numbers in the others. So Linda, just make up numbers, it's fine. That one's blank, brown is blank. Okay, so we now have this. And Linda, why don't you go to that brown cell and just make it yellow or something so that we know that that's the one we're hunting for. Okay, and I am going to ask a question. Someone can volunteer to answer if you want. I'm not going to call on anybody and make anyone answer. But how would you figure out what it, and so my question could be, would be, oh, here is a probability distribution for the colors in a given box of M&Ms. What number goes into that brown cell, into the yellow cell? Does anybody know how they would do that? Lori is volunteering. Go ahead.
I would add up all those numbers and then subtract it from 1.
That would be an excellent thing to do. So Linda's going to do that. So somewhere she's going to add up all those numbers. And notice that there's no number there, so she gets what it was. And then, as Lori said, she's going to subtract it from 1. And that tells you that 0.32 would be the answer to that. Thank you, Lori. And that was a, that was a good answer. And got to tell you, that's a kind of problem that I could ask too, because it's a different way of testing the same thing. Now, does anybody have any question about what Lori did or about what Linda did? And I guess I'm answering instead of Linda just to preserve her voice. Any questions, or are we good? Okay, Linda, what's the next number we're going to do?
Looks like 13.
Okay, so that was slide 12.
We don't have to travel far.
Yeah. Okay, so we go to 13. Now, here is a different problem. And again, I do know what time it is. It is 6:59. I'm going to read this problem and then we're going to talk about it. Now, we're jumping around here though, and that's fine because, we've got videos on all these things and stuff like that. But this is what we have. So here we have, and I'm just reading the problem along with you. In 2011, Six Flags St. Louis had 10 roller coasters. And these roller coasters have names. They're the Screaming Eagle, the Boss. This is probably true, I don't know. River King Mine Train, Batman the Ride, Mr. Freeze, Ninja, Tony Hawk's Big Spin, Evil Knievel, Excalibur, and Sky Screamer. Of these, the Boss, the Screaming Eagle, and Evel Knievel are wooden coasters. I don't know if you guys are into coasters, but wooden coasters, a lot of people like those who are into nostalgia. Now, Ethan, a kid, wants to ride 2 more coasters before leaving the park, but not the same one twice, and decides to select them by drawing the names from a hat. So he takes a piece of paper and he throws it into a hat, or he tears it up, and on some of the papers he's got the Screaming Eagle. On one paper he's got the Screaming Eagle, the next one he has the Boss, and so on and so forth. So he throws them into his hat, and he is going to draw 2 names from the hat. Okay, now the first question says, determine the sample space. That is, list all possible random samples of size n equal 2. So Linda's going to go to XL and she's going to do that. But here's what she's going to say. She's going to say, oh, it could be the Screaming Eagle and the Boss, or it could be Screaming Eagle and King River Mine Train, and so on and so forth. Because that's the sample space. That's the set of possible outcomes. And she's probably going to paste that there so she knows what these are called. Yes, Kathy, go ahead. Linda's going to be typing while we're doing this.
I was just wondering, is there a formula or a way you can check that you were able to catch or get all of the possible samples? Because sometimes I'm worried, what if I'm forgetting a combination?
Well, what I would suggest you do, and by the way, later on, in fact, we've already done it, although some people aren't necessarily there yet, but we have come up with a formula so we know how many of these there are, okay? So there's a formula that you can check to make sure that you have all of them. But what I would do is I would suggest, Kathy, that you have some systemic way of doing it. So first thing, I would start with Screaming Eagle, and then I would put all of those in, the Screaming Eagle with the Boss, King River Mine, and so on and so forth. So I'd have a system for that. Then I'd go to the Boss. Now, I don't have to do the Boss with Screaming Eagle again, but I do it with the ones that follow. Yes, Kathy?
Oh, is that one of the probability formulas that you showed us that will be on? I think I just didn't realize which one that is. Will that be on our grace notes?
Yeah, but I mean, I'll do it later. But right now, what Linda is doing is she's doing this, and I will, before we leave this problem, I will address your question. So it looks like Linda's making a list of all these ones, which is a fine way to do it, okay? And this has to do with the sample space. And let's see, there's 10 of these, but Linda's got 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, she's making progress. She's almost there. And I hope you see what Linda's doing here. She's saying Evel Knievel plus those others. And you can see, Kathy, and the only reason I'm talking to you is because you were the one that asked the question. And you can see that she kind of systemically did this. So Linda can count how many different possibilities are here. And you could count them too. But now I'm going to tell you that the thing that I talked about before in the lecture not tonight in the video lecture, is there is a formula, Kathy, you're correct. There's a formula to know how many of these are. And so Linda's going to come up with a number here. And so Linda, how many did you get?
Oh, I wasn't counting.
She wasn't. Okay, I don't care. Don't count.
Let's see.
Okay, so Linda, we're going to do this somewhere else. This is what's called a combination. And so what we're going to do is we're going to say that there were 10 roller coasters, and we're taking them 2 at a time. So Linda's going to show you a formula in Excel. So click it, Linda, up there. So it's 10, choose 2. And I think the choose 2 is a better way to say that than pick 2. And Linda, I think that's fine, except the C works really well that way. Okay, so this is the combination. So this is 10, choose 2. So Linda's clicking on the combination, and you take the number, which was 10 roller coasters, and we're choosing 2 at a time. And so she'll do that, and so she should have 45 different coasters that could that we could get out of that. So it's 10, choose 2. Should be 45 different pairs that you could get. Okay, so there's 45 total. Yes, Carolina?
Yes. So in the problem, it says that he doesn't want to take 2 twice. No, the same one twice. Would the computer know that? Like, that it's not?
Well, yeah. I mean,
the same one twice.
The function that I've just talked about, and the only reason I went here was because Kathy asked about it, and that's fine that she asked about it. But 10, choose 2 function, and try to have yourself muted when you're not talking, just so you know the noise is manageable. Okay, so this 10, choose 2 is you're not choosing the same one twice. You're choosing them 2 different ones. They're distinct ones. So it says there are 10 coasters, and I'm picking 2 of them, 2 distinct ones. And you don't get to pick, so if you pick Evel Knievel, you don't pick Evel Knievel again. You keep him out. That's called picking without replacement. Did I answer your question? I hope.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lori has a comment, but then we're going to move on to these. And Lori, go ahead.
So my question is, so when you, for A, it says determine the sample space. So is 45 the sample space, or is all of those, that stuff down there that she's highlighting, that's the sample space?
That would be the sample space, yes.
So if you were to ask it, we need to type all that out?
Yeah, but I'm also going to tell you that that's not my kind of question.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
And Linda was probably cursing me in her mind when I was making her do that. But what we need to do, I mean, well, I think there's value in understanding what that is, but I probably would more likely ask you how many different coasters could he ride on, the thing we just did that's 45. And I let you use Excel, so you can even use that formula with Excel. Okay. All right, so let's go back then, and again, I know what time it is. We're doing just fine. What's the probability that Ethan will ride Mr. Freeze and Evel Knievel? Well, out of those 10, choose 5. How many subsets were that? And it's 1 out of. See, so one of those sets. Is that, so it would be 1 out of 45. Because you see, that's one thing that he could, that's one of the sets that he could pull out. So that's 1 out of 45, and that would be what other number Linda typed there. Okay, what's the probability that Ethan will ride the Screaming Eagle? Now, let's think about that. There are 45 things that could happen, but how many of them have the Screaming Eagle. Well, think about that. So he picked the Screaming Eagle, so he is picking 9 more names, so it's going to be 9 out of 45. So this is going to be C. 9 of those have the Screaming Eagle there, and it's 9 out of 45, so it's 0.2. What is the probability that Ethan will ride 2 wooden roller coasters? Now, Linda, I have to look at the words again to remember what the wooden coasters were. So how many of them were wooden? 1, 2, 3, 3 of them. Yes, Linda?
Yeah.
Okay, so 3 of them were wooden coasters, but I can pick 2 of those. So this is going to be, and Linda, write this somewhere else, it's 3 choose 2.
Okay.
Okay, and that's going to be divided by 10 choose 2.
Hold on. Okay, let's see here.
Now, Linda's going to do this with the equations that we have, though, because that combination function helps you do this. So 3 choose 2 is that combination function. She's going to use 3, 2, and she'll get a number there. She gets that, okay? And so there's 3 ways that you could do that. Then she's going to be divide that, and this number is going to be 45 again. So that's 3 over 45. It's going to be 1 over 15, and Linda will change that into a decimal. Okay, the last question should be easy because it says, what is the probability that Ethan will not ride any wooden roller coasters? Well, what we have here is the probability that he rides a wooden roller coaster is that 0.06 number. So the probability that he will not ride any is 1 minus that. Lori, that's the same thing you did earlier. So that is going to be 1 minus that in E.
I got a question. So part D was only that he's going to ride 2 wooden roller coasters. But this is asking what's the probability he won't ride any.
Oh, sorry about that. Linda did correct me. Okay, so what's the probability he won't ride any wooden roller coasters? Okay, so that's going to be different. Thank you, Linda. You see, he has to choose, so he's choosing 7. 7 choose 2.
Okay, we can also do that.
Actually, I like that better maybe, and I don't know. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying 7 choose 2 divided by 45. 7 choose 2. So this is 21 divided by 45, and that's going to be 7 over, let's see, 7 over 15, and that's the number that we get. Okay, now I want to ask if there's questions about what we did on this problem. And again, Lori, going back to the discussion I think I was having with you, I'm not going to ask you to generate that sample space. I'm going to ask you to do the calculation more this way. That's what I really would want you to do. And those are more my kind of problems. Okay, so are there questions out there? We're almost at the break time, but not quite yet.
Yeah, I got a little bit stuck once you hit D, where you're saying, what is the probability that Ethan will ride 2 wooden roller coasters? So
right,
what
Linda's,
you did is 3 choose 2 divided by 10 choose 2. So it's 3 choose 2. I'm getting that the 3 is because there's 3 wooden roller coasters, but what's the choose 2?
Well, because he's picking 2 to ride.
Okay.
So
and then we're dividing it by 10 choose 2 because that's how many coasters overall.
That's not coasters overall. That's how many pairs he could get of coasters that he's choosing to ride. Yes.
Okay, and then for E, we did the opposite amount. So we did the 7 because that's how many non-wooden coasters there are. We couldn't just
exactly. Yes,
subtract.
yes. You can't subtract from. Linda made a good point. I wasn't paying attention. That's one of the real good things about having Linda around. But you see, we were riding 2 wooden roller coasters, but you see, here we're saying he didn't ride any. So I can't subtract that from 1. I had to do what we just did. You can either choose 0, 1, or 2, but now we're choosing 0 wooden roller coasters in E. And I forget who was asking that question, but are you good?
No, you just lost me at that end part. So the probability that Ethan will not ride any wooden roller coasters is still out of the probability that he's riding 2 coasters, not 0 coasters, correct?
The denominator is always the same, yes.
Okay.
But the numerator we adjust because there are no wooden coasters in his selection. So it's 7, choose 2.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, all right, it's 17, it's 7:16 by my reckoning. We'll reconvene at 7:26, and I have a couple of phone calls that I will be making during the break, but we'll convene at let's say 7:27. Thanks. Carolyn, this is Jim. I am teaching and we're on break now, so that's the reason I tried to call you. And we're going to be on a break till 7:26, and I'll try to call you when I'm finished with the break. Thanks. Or when I'm finished teaching the class. Thanks. Yes, Carolyn. Sure. Athletic. Yeah, I work with Mike a lot. He tutors the people. Now I'm going to tell you something, and you might not want to do this. Okay, you might not want to tell the kid this. Okay. Yeah. Well, no, Mike is very good people. In fact, and I don't know if you remember, but and you know you weren't able to go. I think it was early COVID days. But Mike and Julie invited me and well, and I asked if I could bring a guest, and you were my guest. So we almost went over to their house once. You and I went. Yeah, I know, and you were, and by the way, I'm not being mean when I say this, but you were reluctant to do that because of the COVID, and I get that. That's fine. That's fine. But well, yeah, no, in fact, I think yeah, in fact, she made take home stuff, you know, like plates, and I think I dropped one off for you. It was very good chicken, I remember. And it was healthy, but it was very good. And so anyway, but Mike's good. The one thing I was going to say is I am also teaching at 12:20, and that counts for the degree, and it's the 12 week. It just started. And so if he is behind or scared, and I don't know who he's taking for the 12:18, but well, mine is a VCM. Okay. So, well, here's the thing. I got to be careful how I say this, but he 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 would be safe with me. So I'm not telling you to tell him to do that, but I have 6 people in the class. Tomorrow's our second meeting.